everyone, I'm Debbie, and I'm one half of a romance author duo under the pen name Fiona Whitman. And I created this podcast to be a go to resource for authors, both fiction and nonfiction, who are looking for real strategies from indie authors building full time careers in publishing. And today I'm so excited to introduce our amazing guest, Jenna, who writes under the pen name Abby Grayson, a best selling, award winning author who loves writing clean romances, a kissing only type romance, and that's sweet, swoony, and full of heart. Her stories are all about the joy of falling in love over and over again. If you're into books that make you laugh, cheer for the characters, and think about them long after the last page, you're in the right place. So, welcome, Abby, or I'll call you Jenna.
Yeah, Abby, Jenna, totally fine. That is me. I am both.
Can you share a little bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. So I am fairly new to the writing world where I've only been well, I guess, isn't that always like technical? I started writing I guess my first book was in 2023. And so since then, I've been probably writing about 4 books a year. And it's been fun and exciting, but it was never ever something I thought I would do. In my real world life, I am actually a dog trainer. And so I did write a couple dog training books for that. So it's not that I couldn't write, it's just that I never ever thought that I'd be writing fiction or romance. So, it's kind of exciting to be here, and it's also really surprising at the same time.
I have a list of questions. What I like to do is just go and find out what authors do from a strategy perspective. And because if anything, just to get ideas and insights of how other authors are doing out there in not only the writing world, but the selling world. I think that's we all want to know.
Yeah.
How are you selling your books?
Right now, I like Instagram. I'm a little bit old school, so I hate learning about all of the new social media platforms, and they just seem to come so fast, and they're so new and they're so different. And it kind of feels like finding followers and building it up can be overwhelming and challenging. So, right now, the one that I use the most is Instagram. I would like to get on TikTok. But I just have to kind of figure out the strategy and how to do it and how to be consistent with it. Instagram was the easiest one for me to fall into. So that's where I am. And I am on Facebook. And with Facebook, you can share from Instagram because Meta is connected. So the two of them are connected. So it makes it easy. But again, it's not really my strong suit per se. Being so, but yeah, Instagram is the one that I use the most.
How often do you post? And I think you had mentioned you had hired a PA.
I
Yeah.
do. I work with a PA, to be honest, who has completely saved my life because there have been times that my life has gotten really overwhelming or I've been on a real crunch deadline. And she's been there to make my content. She also reads my books, which is amazing because then I don't have to give her stuff to put in the content because creating the content is sometimes the hardest part and figuring out what quotes you want to use. So having her do that has been amazing. I was posting consistently every day. We were doing, well, 5 days a week. We were doing reels 5 days a week. I am still doing reels 5 days a week, but I've also started because we have so much content. We've been reusing some of it and doing two. We've been doing a reel during the day and then like a carousel post in the evening.
The amount of times per day, have you seen like an exponential increase in activity from that?
No, you know what? It's a slow crawl.
Mhm.
It's really just about consistency. If you're consistent, they'll show up. I
Yeah.
look at some of the people who have really big accounts, whether they're authors or bookstagrammers, and they tend to post multiple times a day. When I say multiple, I'm like 3 or 4. Like
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
lot. I'm not at that point. I think if I get enough content, I could probably do that because then you're not having to create everything and it's just kind of reusing and maybe tweaking if it's a little out of date. But otherwise, yeah, it's just kind of a slow crawl. If you give people who read your books a place to come and follow you, that they use, they're going to show up on those platforms. At least that's what I found. There is also a program called ManyChat, which allows you to have people comment underneath your post. You'll be able to do in ManyChat, you'll be able to send them a message, which then has a link that they can click. Facebook, for me, the thing I don't like about Facebook is that when I go in for my timeline, I can no longer find anything that I'm really interested in. It is that I don't even know who they are. And Instagram, you go in and it's legitimately just people you follow. It's a much easier platform to use.
I know that you use BookBub as well.
Well, BookBub one, I have my my profile up and just kind of, introduced myself, which you just reminded me. I updated my profile photo on all of my sites and I need to do it on Goodreads and BookBub. So I have my books there. I ask my ARC readers to go and review on there so that my books get activity that way, and for advertising as well.
Which one's working best for you on the BookBub platform?
Well, so far I have not gotten selected. None of my books have been selected for the big BookBub.
I see.
Whichever that is, I use the new release for less, and that
Okay.
one's a little bit easier to get into. And so, depending, I just found this out. I've done 3 releases on there. I think overall I've probably gotten like over 1,000 clicks for each of them. And I've definitely made sales. It was probably a couple hundred sales on the sale, like the big day that it was being publicized. And then I've gotten trailing sales as well. Numbers are not always my strong suit. I definitely need to, if I was keeping track of stuff more, I could figure it out. I've made my money back with the lower categories. This time around for my newest release, I did contemporary romance, and that one was much more expensive, but the audience is also double the size. The
Mm,
one that I'm doing, which is for contemporary romance, that one was like 7 something. It's like
yeah,
731. And I was
yeah.
like, when I saw that, I was like, and then I read that they may select a different category for you. So I was like, fingers crossed. It didn't happen.
I took this other marketing course, because I've taken lots of marketing courses. I took this one course where they said you can go onto Amazon and you can create a link, kind of a promotion link for each specific promotions that you do, and that's how you know they're being purchased directly from this particular promotion. Amazon attrition is called.
A lot of promotions, like Bargain Booksy, Free Booksy, Written Word Media, they use their own data so that they can tell
Right.
you how many clicks you've had. And if you ask them, they'll tell you how well your promotion did. So there must be a reason that they specifically ask you for the ASIN or the Amazon link rather than letting you use a personalized link.
Back to your point of things trailing in, I think it's like everything, it's a marathon. Building your client, like building your readership is a marathon. Building your skills in marketing is a marathon. Building your skills even in the
Yeah.
writing aspect is a marathon, right?
Yeah, the whole thing is a marathon. It's a marathon, but you feel like you're sprinting the entire way. Right?
And then you've got Instagram that'll change the way that they do their, you know, algorithms and things.
Algorithms.
And you're like, oh my God, stop changing things. I'm just now getting a hang of how to post something.
Yeah, yeah, there's actually a course. I have so many courses, but there's a course that I want to take that talks about how to make your posts algorithm proof. And hers have been successful. And so I am curious to find that out and see how that works, because she focuses more on TikTok, but they can be used across any social media platform. So, really would like to figure out that way and just have it be where I can just reuse stuff over and over and over again. And I could just change a quote, or I can copy and change the background image for a new book and then use a quote from there. Simplicity is like seriously and sincerely something that I'm trying to get and working with my PA for on all of our content. Like the more that we can duplicate stuff and customize it and reuse, the better it is time wise for both of us. One of my goals is to be able to get her to do more things for me. That there's so many other things that need to be done. When I started using Instagram and I started going on there, that was when I started seeing a turnaround in my reviews and my books being spread out because people were talking about them. I think your mailing list is your most important. I think nurturing them is super, super important because those are honestly, in some ways, your super fans. But then you have your street team and your ARC team, and those are the people who want to shout your name from the rooftops. So it's all about making sure that we're building and getting the right people who want to do this for us because they enjoy our books. And to be honest, like, it's really fascinating to me that people enjoy my books as much as they do. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But you know how people are like, oh, when people start coming up to you and they start praising you, you're going to feel different. You don't feel any different. You still feel like the person who just started writing, and you're like, wow, you really like this? Like, but it's nice. And I think that's the nice thing about social media is that you get that instantaneous back and forth. It's kind of like if you had a book signing, which I have not done yet. But if you had a book signing, you would be able to get the reinforcement from the person in front of you. So social media gives that to you a little bit. And as writers, and even you on the other end, just being the marketing end, we're so detached from our readers that getting a little bit of a boost where they're excited about what's coming is so necessary for us to keep going.
I love the interaction because, like you said, you kind of need inspiration to keep going. Like, did you like it? Am I on the right
Yeah.
track? you know,
Yeah.
it's good to
Yeah. Like
know.
one of the things that my PA is always like, cause she'll give me her PA hat and her reader hat. And she's like, as a reader, I love it when authors ask me for things and like choices, like what would I like to see or pick a trope or she's like, I like that type of thing. And I'm like, okay, that's great. So I asked my street team, I was like, which character would you want to see for a bonus chapter? And it was really funny. I got mixed reviews because I was considering doing either the father for the bonus chapter or the daughter, who I'm going to do a spin-off and she's going to get her own story. And so I was really torn between the two. And everybody was like, a couple people were like, I don't care. I trust whatever you do, what will be amazing. And I was like, what? Don't really? But it was really interesting. Like some of them were like, no, David. Like a lot of people like to have more of the male perspective. And others were like, no, whatever you decide, it's going to be great. I sincerely don't know how much that would play into my process. It was something that I considered when I was writing it. And I was just when I wrote the story, it was like the epilogue really finished like the parent story, like that was done. The next one, it needed to be Scarlet. But I thought it was really interesting just to hear everybody's feedback.
Their support matters, right? You care what they think. And that's all we ever want, right? In life.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. It's really funny. Sometimes and I'm sure you've gotten this too. Sometimes my readers get back to me with I don't think the epilogue needed to be that far in advance or that
Oh,
far later. I'm like, can you change that? No, the book's finished.
right. I haven't had anybody come and ask to change things yet, but we're still early in the game.
It's funny, it makes me laugh, but it's also kind of cute, that
It's
they
very
think they can do that.
well, I mean, they are just as, we'll call it, invested into the
Yeah.
characters as you are, right? I can see readers having their 2 cents into this needs to happen or that needs to
Yeah.
happen.
And as a new author, you kind of take it all like personally, and the more you write, you're kind of like, sorry, dude, that's a story. Unless it's your editor or a beta reader, like those are totally different. Like you're really putting it out there and asking for feedback. I love my
Yeah.
readers, but they do make me laugh.
Let's move on to you engage bookstagrammers. Tell me about that strategy.
Well, some of the bookstagrammers out there, you need to figure out like The part of Bookstagram that I'm on is really more of like the clean and wholesome romance. It's also the closed door aspect. Um, and the people who I engage with are more of the people who read those. So I'll get the bigger Bookstagrammer accounts and I'll use that for marketing. And it's really one of the things you want to look at is not just the amount of followers that somebody has, but how much engagement they get on their posts. What's happening is they have a large following, but they don't necessarily have an active account. When you're looking for that, you really want to make sure that the person that you're hiring to market for you, and I can actually tell you a story about that for the first book in my accidentally series. You want to make sure that the person you're actually using is actually getting engagement so that she has people or they have people who are, going and buying your book because this person recommended it. The first time I really hired a bookstagrammer, and I invested the money because I wasn't sure if I should do that. Because everybody promises stuff and then you're like, well, is this actually going to work? And the first time that I hired somebody, and for all of those out in the clean closed door area, Rachel of Closed Door Romance is who I used. The first time that I used her, I had her do a reel where she did a review on my book. And that was the first book in my Accidentally in Sports series. And that book did really well. It's still one of my top selling books. I mean, granted, the fact that there's 4 books in the series doesn't hurt. It's the book that I have with the highest reviews on there on Amazon and also Goodreads. I'm almost at 1,000 on Goodreads. On Amazon, it's almost 700. So that was the first book that I did that with. And it went really well. So if you can find the right person to use it, definitely do it. Just make sure you're paying attention to who the person is. You're making sure that they have an active account and not just necessarily because there are a lot of follow trains on Instagram. You'll come across them. And so it will be bookstagrammers or PAs or people who will be like, we need to get you in a follow train. And so basically what that is that people will just come to your account and they will answer a question of the day and they'll comment in it. Now, those people are engaging with your account, which is great for the algorithm because according to Instagram, that shows you that people are interested and they want to be there. But the problem is it doesn't necessarily mean that they're buyers. They are more interested in getting followers for their accounts. So you want
Yeah,
to check on the type of engagement that the
right.
bookstagrammer is getting.
Where did you start to find that person? Do you just search in Bookstagrammer?
I'm trying to think when I first got on Instagram with my author account and what happened. I think Rachel was posting a couple reels a day and she showed up in my feed. Just started following her and I remember looking at her account and I think when I joined she had 25,000. Um the last time that I checked I think she has 50,000. So she has
Wow.
been consistently growing her account, consistent engagement. Um, so she has just been a model of what you'd want to do for your account. But she's really good at being consistent and staying consistent to her brand. Like that's
Good.
another thing. It's not that you can't change your brand. It's just that you want to make sure that you are targeting your audience. The more you do that, the better you'll get at it. The other thing, of course, is you want to look in your KDP and you want to be like, am I getting any page reads? The first time I used closed door romance and we did that, I would say a couple days later, I was getting 10,000 page reads, and like my page reads were increasing. And I did some other stuff, but the only new thing I did was a promotion. The other thing is you're going to have people who send you messages. I am associated with so and so's account, and we'd love to review your book. That's usually somebody who's going to charge you to review your book. Don't pay people to review them. There are plenty of people. This is what started happening to me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, when I was on Instagram, Apparently, some of my ARC readers were on Instagram, and one of the things they would do is leave a review and do a review on their Instagram account. So you actually start to see people putting reviews of your books out there. But the people who ask you to work with them and want to charge you money probably aren't the people that you want to look at. We want
Yeah.
to do this for you. If you wanted to do it for me, you would have read the book and did it. I'll
Mm.
check the accounts sometimes. Like I'll be like, okay, if this is a new promotion, like any of the newsletters that are out there, like Book Doggy is a good one. I'm willing to check out a new place, but I don't know what your newsletter subscription is. You're not. I don't. Is this a good place or not? Is it safe for me to spend my money? Is this going to be like a black hole? Some of the audiences, like Love Kissed, is another one that
Mhm.
I'll use occasionally, but I don't know that they're so good for like the clean brand.
Let's talk a little bit more about your art team, and what
Yeah.
strategy do you use to get reviews?
Okay, so what I have been doing up until this last release was going to my newsletter and going to my Instagram and just saying, "Hey, my ARC team is open. Are you interested in joining?" And then I would just let people sign up. Um, I would then follow up with a reminder to leave a review and a Google form asking them where they left the information. What I did this time around was actually have them fill out a Google form. And I gave them some requirements because I wanted to make sure that I'm starting to put together an ARC team who is really there because they want to read my books and they love my books, not because they're like, ooh, free book, which, as we all know, ARCs aren't really free. I just decided to get more selective. And I have to be honest, this time around, I have not noticed any change in the number of reviews I've gotten. So that was a plus. And I think I know you had it, I think for this one, it was on the lower end of my numbers. Like previously, I've had a couple hundred. This time I only had 158 ARC reviewers, and I got almost 100 reviews in the first week.
And what I hear is that with the Google form, it's accountability.
I have a permanent ARC team. I think there's about
I see.
78 people on there. For those people, I do need to start holding them a little bit more accountable. But in the same token, I'm really grateful to have them. So I'm trying to find the balance. This is a reciprocal thing. I am giving you my book because you're going to read it and review it for me. And there are people who've been with me from the beginning who I would never hesitate to give them a book. Like I didn't even know that when you have an ARC team that people will send you mistakes they found. Really, when you get the people who are willing to do that for you and go above and beyond, you definitely want to keep them around. But yeah, so I do have a permanent ARC team, but I do open it up every time as well. And I do use Booksprout. You know what? The bottom line is you are giving people your book and you are
Yeah.
hoping and praying that they'll actually review it. Like I said, I had 158 and I've gotten 100 as of today, I think it was 115 reviews. So that's not a bad percentage. And I was a little bit concerned about the lower number, but so far I think it's paying off.
That helps a lot just with the, understanding of like, okay, what is it that I'm missing in my ARC team release? That's why I want to keep doing these podcasts. When you get comfortable with a strategy and you stay with that strategy, what if you tweak it just 5% or 2% even? What other
Yeah.
thing can you add in there? And that Google form is a great idea. And engaging in Instagram. And so let's talk about your pre-order strategy.
The ARC team is 2 weeks or a week and a half, depending if I'm running behind schedule. 2 weeks is fine. As long as you
Yeah.
let people know when it's coming out. And the bookstagrammers, too, to be honest, they read so fast. I try not to take advantage of the fact that they can read that fast because they're reading a ton of books, but it blows my mind. So for my pre-order, I think I put this pre-order up when I put book 3 up. So book 4 up went up the same time as book 3. Normally, I don't, and this series is really the first time that I've been pre-ordering a series. Like I may pre-order all of the books at the same time
Mhm.
because the longer they're up there, the more they'll get exposure. And also too, when somebody reads one, then they want to order the next one and then they'll order in the series. So that's a good way of doing it. Let me see. I think Duncan and Ava, that was book 3, went up after I published book 2. So that book was up for a pre-order almost 6 months, maybe a little bit less. It was supposed to be released in June and it got pushed back a month.
That's why you had 488 pre-orders because it was 6 months worth.
Well, yes, but it really didn't start picking up until the
Yeah.
end. What I did to market that was I let everybody know on Instagram that it was up. So anytime like I marketed the series, I would market all of the books and I would suggest pre-ordering David and Kat. And then I also did, oh, this was fun. I did a buddy read with one of the Bookstagrammers on Instagram. And we started with Josh and Bree. And after I did the buddy read, that actually helped with the pre-orders as well.
I've never heard of that term buddy read. What is that?
Yeah, it was new to me too. I learned it this year. What it is you get together with somebody who hosts buddy reads, and basically what they do is they recruit people to come in and say, "We're reading this book. Would you like to join us?" And then we have a group chat. I think we read it over a month's period, and then at the end of the month, we did a live Zoom call. We talked about the book. We talked a little bit about me, and then yeah, that was pretty much it. It was actually a lot of fun. I can give a shout out to that person too. Yeah. Jammers, JAMMERS
Uh-huh.
underscore epilogues. She reads all
Awesome.
across all genres. I had so much fun doing it. I'm actually going to reach out to her and try and get another one up.
This is just a sidebar. I don't even have this on my list of questions to ask you, but how do you write?
When I am writing and I am in write mode and I have a deadline, I am waking up early every morning. And before I do anything, I get up, I sit at, well, when I go to the bathroom, I get up, I get a drink, and then I sit at my desk and I write for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, however much time I have. But that's what I do. And my routine is first thing in the morning, I write. The world is quietest at that point. I haven't
Mhm.
done anything else to distract myself. And so it's the perfect time to just do it. If I am on a deadline and I'm falling behind, I will write during the day. Like I'll just have to clear my schedule and just write. But it's not the way I like to do things. I do like to do things in the morning. It's usually when I'm at my most creative and it is
Right.
easiest for me. I'm waking up early. Like, I mean, it may not be early to some people, but like I could do 5:36 in the morning. Yeah. And sometimes it's not intentional. It's just my mind is like, girl, you got a book to write. Like, you got a deadline. You got to get done. Like, let's go. I think the last book I published was book 15.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
In
Thank you.
2 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One of the things I'm really going to start working on is I need to get better at marketing my back matter. And I
Mm.
haven't been so great with that. And that's a really, really big thing that I think is so important. Sometimes, like, I think we need to take a break to figure out, like, how we're going to pivot because it's not just about the material. Like, yes, it is. Yes, the more material we have, the more books we can get, the more exposure we can get. But you can't keep running on that train endlessly.
Right. Yeah, you have to pivot. You have something has to shift. And
Yeah.
even if it's stopping the writing for a minute to go, okay, I have to re-establish my goals, my direction, all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of, and I'm hoping that this podcast will allow other people to do the same thing
Yeah.
because any money we make goes straight into marketing. And Facebook ads have eaten me alive in money. I can't. So I need to figure out another option.
I was going to say, even figuring out if the ads are being, like how do you do ads productively? Like,
Yeah.
otherwise you're barely breaking even if you're not
Right.
getting the read throughs.
Right.
Yeah.
The plotter or the pantser? Or what kind of writer are you?
In my ideal world, I am kind of a plotter, pantser type of person. I'd like to know exactly where my story is going and what the chapters are supposed to be about. And then I write them, but sometimes it doesn't always happen that way. Cause your characters start talking and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. And you're like, what? So I mean, for the most part, I'm a plotter, but I can pants if I need to. So I'm a plantser, I think they call that. You know what? One of the things I'm learning about this is you never stop learning because there's
Mm,
always something you can do more efficiently or more effectively. And even as a writer, this last book, my writing was much better than it has been previously. And so I think the more you go, the more you do, the more you learn, the better you are at whatever task it is. It's a never to going bringing this back full circle. Yeah, in our marathon, we're learning. We're learning how to run more efficiently. Even though we're sprinting in it, we sometimes have to take those little breaks, but in those little
mhm.
breaks, we apply what we've learned and we do what we've done better. I feel like writing my book is the sprint. Like when I have to write it, I start plotting it out and outlining it and then figuring out where I want to go. And what's interesting is the next series I'm going to do, I'm going to outline all of the series so that I know more about them because I didn't with the last ones. And that would have helped a lot. My audiobook is actually they are wide right now. So it's oh, I will be putting a YouTube channel up shortly. I'm in the process of getting that done. And I will be putting my audiobooks up there for free. So anybody who wants to go listen. And I think that is also it's at author Abby Grayson on YouTube. But my audiobooks are wide. Most of my ebooks and my print books are all on Amazon. YouTube actually allows you, after you get 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers, they pay you per listen. I think it's per minute, per hour, or something like that.
It's, I think, per ad.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly, but I do know you can get a commission from that. So it's just another way for me to get exposure, for people to listen to me and find, well, not listen to me, listen to my narrators, but find my books and listen. And also, if YouTube is willing to pay me something for them, then it's beneficial because that could also be an endless stream if I get enough followers. And also, too, maybe potentially at some point, I would like to do some type of podcast myself. So you never know. I may ask you once I figure out exactly what that
I'll
is.
sign up here first.
But I also thought it could potentially be a great way to just do like videos and talk about your process or, keep
Yeah.
people up to date on what's going on with the new story that's being written. So yeah,
So where can we find you online?
you can find me. I am at author Abby Grayson on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I think BookBub and Goodreads. I think I have author Abby Grayson for all of them.
Well, here are some key takeaways from my conversation with Jenna. Stick to your writing routine, leverage Instagram and ARC teams, and use tools like pre-orders and BookBub ads. And don't forget the power of Bookstagrammers and BookBuddy strategies to grow your audience and turn your writing into profit.
Well, thank you so much, Jenna, for just allowing me to dig into your brain of like what your strategies are and look to see
Yeah.
like, okay, I have like 20 things on my page now. I've got to like now dig into to learn more about. So thanks so much for the opportunity there. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time and
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to watch some of the other authors
And thank you for joining us. If you found this video valuable, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, or even leave a comment. It helps us reach more indie authors and keep sharing strategies every week. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.